Hello everyone. So this is the fourth episode of Unreal Engine Adventure series. So here we are going to work on this inventory window. So as you can see here, when I select one of the items in the inventory, you can see the detail about that item is updated here. And we are going to have three different types of three buttons here. So, and two types of items, survival items and artifacts. So survival items would be stuff like such as rocks or coins or whatever the things that matters for survival of the character that he can consume, maybe like health packs, etc. And artifacts are things like valuable items, so some totems, some figurines, stuff like that player can just collect that can't be consumed or anything. And yeah, that's the basic setup. So let's see how to implement this widget part today, and after that in future let's look into how to actually implement them in the game. And this episode is sponsored by this generous patron. Thank you very much for your support. Okay, so at the moment we have this focus mode. Here we can see the important and interactive objects, and when I go here I can press E and inspect this object. If I press R I can rotate and look at the object, and when I press E it puts back the object. Right, so the next thing I want to do is, when this item is in my hand, here we only get press R to rotate, press E to leave. That's all I have. So I also need an option, something that says press some key to collect this into the inventory. So for that we need to work on an inventory. Right, so that's what I'm going to do next. So we already have the HUD folder. Let's create a new folder, inventory. So here let me create another folder, icons. Oh, textures, let's call it UI assets. Let's put back in the main folder, because here I am going to put all the required icons and stuff here. So I already have this rock icon. Let me import it here. So I am going to use this as the to represent a basic element in the inventory. Alright, so first let's create some button. Actually that would be something that represent one of the elements in the inventory that we can see, that we can click and view additional details about that specific item, or we can see the set of actions related to that icon. Okay, so let's right click, let's create a user interface and widget blueprint. Right, let's call it inventory item. Okay, right, so here at the moment I only need to just show the image. So let me drag and drop this item here. Let's call it item icon, or just icon. Let's just call it image. Why not? Oh, item icon. Right, and I'll set it to acquire the whole space we have. So yeah, like this. So when this is when the width and height is different. This is not a square, this is going to look stretched, but I will make all the elements in the inventory squared size, so this should look fine when we see this item actually in the inventory. Okay, so the next part is creating the inventory widget. Inventory, let's use WDG inventory. Here also I'm gonna append WDG in the front, because maybe later on we need some other blueprint that hold the details about the actual item in the inventory as well, not just the widget. Right, so the inventory. Right, now here under the inventory, let's add a grid panel just to see. Yeah, maybe a uniform grid panel. Let's make it scale something like this. We can always modify this later. This is where all the inventory items going to be. Right, something like this. Now if I add a item under here, it looks like this. Correction, here back in the inventory item, let's set the anchors to center and make everything 0, and the width, let's set them 100, sorry, size 6, let's set them to 100 by 100. I want to make this, I want this item to be centered, so alignment also 0.5. Maybe it's too small, maybe not. See, okay, so it will look in this size when I add this into the inventory. Right, back in the widget inventory, let's first add I deleted that grid panel. Let's first add a scroll box right here, and I'll set it to something like 100. No, let me set that as like this. For 100 offset top, 200 offset right, 200 offset bottom, 400. Okay, right, now let me add an inventory item, but before adding it, I think we need a grid panel here. Right, so under that, let's add item widgets, inventory items. 1. Okay, this is only for demonstration purpose. I only need to set up the layout of the inventory. So 1, let me copy and paste 2 with next slot, 3, Maybe we should enlarge this a little bit. Instead of 150, let's try 300. So we don't need that many objects to fill the inventory here. Okay, now select them all, copy and paste, and set here row to 1, so it will be below. Or we have extra element here which may not be necessary. Now to fit 2 items here, what if we set the scale to 200 by 200? No, I think it's too small. We can always revisit these parts and adjust the size. Set bottom. Yeah, now we have 3 elements fit. 2 rows fit. Let me copy this and add 1 more line so we can easily demonstrate. Okay, so here we can only see 2 lines, but there are 3 lines. So to test this, let me open the level blueprint. Here let's quickly add create widget using the inventory and add to viewport, and also set in mode to game and UI, so we can easily test this. Get player controller, and also set show mouse cursor to true. This is only for testing, right? Right, now here we have the basic inventory UI, which we can scroll up and down as well. And now that I'm seeing this in full screen, I think these icons are too large, but we can work on them later. Okay, so what's next? Let me come back here and adjust the size to back to 150, and let's see how it looks now. Yeah, I think this size will work. Oh, maybe even 200. Yeah, this size will work. Okay, and now let me add some black background to the inventory. Don't need any padding. So we should be able to clearly see the things, maybe not too much transparent. 0.8, let's try. Right, better. Okay. let me delete some. Some elements from here. I need to properly set up the space because here we need some buttons that says that I can select which type of items I am viewing. So there will be like survival items, artifacts, and another button for general. So we need room in this area for those buttons. And also when I select one of these items, I should see a description about that selected item down here. So I think there should be enough space for 2 items. So how we find it? No. So for the offset button, 500 should be enough, right? Okay, also let's add some different color here. Let me wrap this with the border so we can apply a different color for the background of the inventory items. Oh, there is no difference here. 0.8. Right, now we have some difference. Right, now in the left side, let me add the 3 buttons that allows me to select the type of the end items I see. I think here I should put these buttons in a vertical box. Yeah. Oh, I can't. Yeah, I can. I just have to put it under the canvas panel. Let's call it left buttons. Here also, let me first set the scale like this. Offset left should be 200. Top also should be 200. Offset right. For the left, maybe 200 is too much. Let's try 100. Offset top. Oh. Offset bottom. Let's try to align with this left side. Okay, now let me add the buttons. We need a text here as well. Name it survivor. And as for the font, I'm going to use this font, that the one I have already used in the UI elements. Right, so I'll name it survivor. This button will select all the survival items that I have. Here, SRV stands for survivor. Copy and paste. ATN artifacts. So the second button, when I select it, it will show all the artifacts in the inventory. Also, I need another button for journal. ATN journal. Now this is stuck to close these buttons, so let's first select them all and let's have a bigger font, like 40. Is that enough? Yeah, that would be enough. 50. No, 40 should be enough. Now let's change the color to black. For now, we need to finalize the design later, and then select all the buttons. Let's have some padding from bottom. 20, 40, yeah, better. Okay, let's see. Right, this is how we'll see the inventory, and the left side and the right side is obviously not balanced, so okay, but that makes this button doesn't match really, so we can fix it by adding another 100 to the left bit, and this gap is too much. Then we should only have 100 units in between. Should be better, should be enough for now. Alright, so the next part is the details area. When I select one of the items, I should see the details right here. So for that, how should we go about it? Right, let's add another vertical box. It should be same as this one. Let's set the anchors like this to this 1.3, y 1.3. 1, no, 0.2, x max 0.7, oh no, 0.9, 0.95, okay, y 0.8, right. Now I'll put this inventory also inside that vertical box. I'll set the inventory to auto, so it will automatically adjust it to the vertical box. Okay, and again we need a text line that says the selected item. Before that we might need a bar, so let's add an image. Yeah, something like this. Let's call it divider. Add a top padding of 10, bottom also 10. The width let's wrap this with a size box. And override the height 5. Right, now we have a clean line. Right, so after that we need another text. Let me copy the same text so that I can have the same properties, but it should be white, otherwise it will not be visible. And align to the left. Let's call it selected item name. Right, then after that we need another text. Here let's add a multi-line text box. Wait, no, we can have the same, not a text box, because we are not going to type anything there. So let me just duplicate this one, but I'm gonna set the font size to default value, which is 24 PLNSR. So I change the text to selected item description. Okay, right, and we need another back button right here just to close the inventory. So yeah, let me copy the same button and paste it under the canvas panel directly. And let's set the anchor like this. Okay, let's change this text to back. It could be shorter. Right, now let's see how this looks. Okay, at the moment when I click on them, nothing happens. We only have the survival, artifact, journal, these buttons, and the back buttons. Yeah, we have the basic layout of the inventory now. One more thing, I think it would be better if we have some kind of a frame around these objects. So since I am using a single widget for this, we can wrap this with another border. Actually, we could use an image here as well. Or the brush, but let's just give it a different color. Maybe we just have a box. Yeah, something like this. Let me save this one. Right, here is the frame. Let's use that. Let me reset the color back to white. And here, frame. Maybe we can make this one slightly transparent as well. Oh no, that applies to the, oh sorry, I selected the wrong one. Okay, now in the inventory we have a frame, as you can see here. And what if I add some padding to these objects so we can avoid this gap? From the top as well, let's have the same gap. Okay, great. Oh, wait a minute, we need to be able to click on these items. So instead of just using a border, I think we should use a button. Yeah, let me wrap this icon with a button. Oh, what happened? This should be rendered as an image. Image size, reset. Okay, right, it's fine here. So we don't really need this border. So let's replace with the child, and for the button let's have that frame under style. Frame, okay. And when the mouse over, we can have the same effect but with a tint, maybe a yellow tint. Wait, what's the color that we have used for our highlighted text? This one. This color. Let me copy this color and paste. This is when it's soured. Pressed also, I need to have the same color and the same image. Right, now let's see, now we see something happening when we hover, and we can click on them also even though it doesn't do anything. Okay, right, now the next part is when I click on the buttons I should see some change, but for that we need to have some actual detail inside holding inside these buttons. So for now let's go to the blueprint here and add 2 strings. Name, let's call it item name and item description. Both should be the strings or text. Text, let's use text. And also we need a way to initialize these values as well. So let's add a custom event init item button. Let's set the item name here and the item description. Right, now when this button is clicked, what should happen? We need to update this inventories. When we click on it, we need to update the selected item in this inventory window. So for that we need a reference to the inventory as well. So in here let me add another input like this, wtg inventory object reference. Okay, then inside the inventory let's add custom event select item or update selected item. So here we already have, what's the variable name here? Name. Let's call it selected item name, and I'll convert this to a variable. This one also convert to a variable. Let's call it selected item description. Right, now here selected item name, get a reference and set text, add it as an input. Also get the selected item description, set text it as an input. Let's change this parameters as name and description. Right, now from the inventory item we can get a reference. Let's promote this to a variable, this parameter as the inventory, and we can get the inventory call update selected item. As the name we can give the item name. As the description we can give the item description. Right, so here by default in the item name we have the value. Let's call it item 1. Item description, now let's just call this item, not 1, just item. For that let's just put some dummy text. Okay, now I'll make the item name public, so I can edit it here. Here let's set it item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea. Right, but still we need to call this init item button in order to have a reference to the inventory. Right, so doesn't matter what we set here. Let's go here under construct. Just like this I need to have all the inventory item buttons. I'll do only for the first 4 and call init item button. Oh wait, we can update the default values here. Item name as the item, and description default value as the default value here. Oh wait, why name also has the same thing. It's a bug. Let's call it item 1, and we need a reference to cell here. Right, let's convert this to a macro to make it easier. And for now I'll just get the display name of this button and use it as the item name, so that we can see something different every time we select a different button. Meter out foot. Right. Okay, all the buttons are initialized. Now shall we test? See, widget inventory item. This part updates as I select each item. And this one should be multi-line. How do we do that? We need to wrap this text. Let me copy the dummy text here. Right. And let's auto wrap it. Okay. Okay, now we can click on items, so the item description and name updates here. Right, so like that we have covered all the basic stuff, and I'm gonna stop this episode right here. Okay, here let me know again. Change the default value to make sense. Select an item. So in order to see details, we can see we have to select an item. Then I'll delete this description because we don't need unless we haven't selected anything. Right, select an item. Oh wait, what now? Why did this happen? Alright, here let's make it like this. Right, great, everything is working. And thanks for watching. So I'm gonna stop right here. As always, project files will be available for the download here in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below. And if you like to support my work, you can get the membership of the Patreon club. See you in another episode. Goodbye.